Good. It's 11 o'clock in Bowling Green, and I think this is the earliest I've been awake, if that tells you how many quarantines are going.
I love everything about that. So, we are going to get started. We'll do some quick introductions here in a second, but this has just been sort of part of one of the ways we've been trying to connect with alumni and students and everyone during this sort of crazy time we're in the middle of. For those of you who have not stayed in the loop, you can read all about what the University of Louisville has done to respond to the coronavirus. You can read about the research that's going on right now, which is really cool. All the things that are going on at the university at louisville.edu/coronavirus. Today is technically the first day of finals for students who have moved to everything being remote. Right after spring break this semester. So we'll ask you about, or I will ask you about that in a moment, Reagan, because I definitely want to hear what it's been like for you. And then as an employee, we have moved to working from home. So we're still working, we're still staying connected with our alumni and the entire community. But I am excited to hear about your experience, Reagan, as a student, as a graduating senior. I'll really quickly introduce myself. My name is Amanda James. I am a two-time UofL grad, and I work in UofL's Alumni Relations Office with students and young alumni. And I am really excited to be joined by Reagan Miller. Reagan, will you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your major, maybe some of the stuff you've been involved in while you've been at UofL?
Yeah, so my name is Reagan, and I am from Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's where I have been for the past several weeks since we've been out of class. But I am finishing up my senior year at UofL undergraduate, and I study political science and English. So throughout my 4 years, I've been involved with several different things, but my favorite has been the Raise Red Dance Marathon, which Amanda's an advisor for us, so she can tell you all about it. But it's basically this huge fundraiser on campus to raise money for pediatric cancer research and blood disease research, and that has been just my favorite thing at UofL. But I've also had the privilege of being on the student orientation staff, and I've been in Greek life and part of the honors program as well. So I definitely am try to be everywhere all the time on campus.
I will also brag on Reagan. She was our homecoming queen this past year. So even as a student, she has already sort of seen some of that homecoming experience that we always are promoting to our alumni every year. So Reagan has been very involved. So obviously, Reagan, as I mentioned earlier, you went from being super involved, doing everything on campus, and that very suddenly ending. What has that been like for you, and what has that adjustment to remote classes been like for you?
Right. So to be honest, every time I get on Facebook, I see all these posts that are like, honor the seniors, honor the seniors. And obviously I'm so sad, but I feel like UofL almost hasn't missed a beat since we've moved to remote classes, because I've still had Blackboard collaborative sessions, basically like video classes and everything. And my professors have been just so responsive every time I've had a question, because I think we're all trying to figure it out together. So I am definitely so sad to be missing out on a lot of like graduate day at the Downs and actual graduation and all of that. These are things that a lot of seniors have been looking forward to for so long. But I think that UofL has equipped us with the tools to respond in the best way possible, and that's by just continuing on as if we were always online. And I feel connected to Louisville now more than ever, even though I'm not in the city of Louisville. I still feel like I'm in classes regularly. It's just a new normal that I think UofL has positively adjusted to.
That warms my heart, Reagan. I'm glad to hear that. Would you give any special shout outs to maybe any professors or departments or areas that have been extra accommodating or maybe gone the extra mile for classes?
Yes, the political science department. This semester I'm wrapping up my final political science requirements, and So Dr. Jasmine Ferrier, she is one of my professors this semester, but she's also the head of the department, and she has just been really thorough, not only in the way she's conducted classes, but she's followed up individually with all of the students. And then also Dr. Julie Bunk has just been a huge resource for me throughout this time. She's just been so communicative and is one of my all-time favorite professors, and they just, both of them have not missed a beat, and they've reached out to me individually. I just love the poli-sci department.
I love that. I am pretty sure I had Dr. Bunk for a class many moons ago for an honor seminar. So that is crazy. And she was a wonderful professor then, so I'm sure she is now as well. Again, for anyone who's tuning in, we are chatting with Reagan Miller, who is about to become a UofL graduate here soon. Just checking in and seeing what that's like for her. If anyone does have any questions, you're welcome to leave those in the comments. We'd be happy to get to any of those. Reagan, so you mentioned earlier you're from Bowling Green. You've been back in Bowling Green for a little bit. What has your sort of work school space been like? And are you willing to show us if you are in that space now?
I will show you. This is my childhood bedroom, and it is atrocious. My mom is so mad at me because I've messed up basically every single room in our house, trying to get comfortable enough to write a paper. But for now, I'm stationed in my childhood bedroom, and I will start by showing you. Well, actually, I can't show you the floor because my mom will kill me because there's clothes everywhere. Let's see. How do you flip the camera? Okay, so this is my unmade bed and my cat. And
hello!
This is where I've been sitting and doing my papers that I have left. But here's my little desk station.
Okay,
and actually,
that was nice.
Well, it's nice. It's kind of messy, but it's actually funny because I noticed, this is so creepy. I scribbled a picture of Dr. Binda Pooty, and I must have done that like right when she was inaugurated because I have no recollection of doing that. But when I sat down to join this live, I was like, oh my gosh. So anyway.
I just want you to know I just took a screenshot of that because I needed a record. Oh wait, yeah, hang on. Let's see if I can. Oh my gosh. Reagan is also an artist. She did not mention that earlier either.
Well, that photo's not quite telling of me, but you know, it's my creative space. So
that is amazing.
I've kind of just hopped around and I've sat outside to write a lot of papers. It's been hard for me because I'm the type that likes to go sit at a coffee shop and that's how I focus. So being in Bowling Green, with everything shut down, I've been kind of stir crazy. But like I said, my professors have been so flexible. So if I've had any questions or need any extensions or anything, they've been so responsive.
Good. I love to hear that because I think not only for the students, it's been hard for some to adjust, but also for the faculty members and staff, this is certainly not what I think most of them would have ever expected they would be doing right now. So right. I'm glad to hear that everyone has been able to work well together. On a more fun note, I guess, not that all of that isn't fun, but what have you been doing aside from finals and classes in your downtime? Any good shows that you've been binging or social media stuff you've been into or any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so when I first realized how long quarantine was going to be, I was like, I'm going to be so productive. I'm going to get in shape. And so far I've watched 2 seasons of Love Island. The UK version.
Okay.
So I tried the Australia version. It wasn't quite up to my favorite, you know. And then I actually downloaded The Sims and I recreated my Louisville house and made a Sim for all my roommates so that I can finish my senior year on Sims.
I love that.
So that's the most productive thing I've done. But in all seriousness, I moved all my art supplies home from Louisville. So in our old playroom, we've got this desk and I've just kind of covered it with all my paint and canvases and everything that I do. And so the first few days of quarantine, I just sort of locked myself in there and let myself just create all sorts of things. Like I found a bunch of old things in my room, a bunch of old vinyls that I painted and it was kind of a nice outlet initially. And I've got my very last final to turn in on Friday. And once I do that, I'm going to go back into art mode and kind of force myself to allow for creative space, I think.
I love that. Maybe some Love Island on while you're doing your art. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think that could be inspiring.
It is inspiring. I can create art and watch people find love and hear their accents.
So, Reagan, you talked about how you've been in Bowling Green, um, and you mentioned earlier all the things you were involved in or have been involved in while you've been a Cardinal. What are you missing the most right now in terms of just sort of that day-to-day experience of being on campus, with your stuff inside and outside of the classroom? What are you missing?
I am so the hardest part of not getting to finish senior year is honestly not having my last shift at Cardinal Ambassador.
Mm.
So if you don't know what that is, work on campus and I just basically work in the North and West info centers. And when visitors come through, we'll park them and we occasionally give tours. But that is it's such a small little box on campus that it's not only nice to have a part-time job and be paid, like get paid while you're a student, but it's also, I think, the closest network that I have on campus. So we always had talked about what are we going to do for our last shift, and we have a senior send-off and all of this. So that was probably the most consistent thing in my college career since I was hired as a freshman and I worked almost every single day until now. And so I think that has just been a change in my schedule that I really, really wish I hadn't taken for granted so much. But fortunately, I've been able to stay connected with my boss and my coworkers. But that's what I'm missing the most.
I love that. And I think that's a good reminder too of like our students are so vital in our jobs on campus, and so many students really work on campus. And so now not only are you moving your classes, but you're no longer able to work, which I think is
Yeah.
unfortunate, obviously, for all of us, but we're staying safe. We're staying hashtag healthy at home. So
Right.
I am glad to hear that. Again, just real quick for everyone who is tuning in, I'm Amanda James and I'm here with Reagan Miller. We are chatting with her as she has her last final on Friday and then will become a U of L alumna. So Reagan, looking ahead, I know it's a sort of uncharted territory time right now, but what do you hope is next for you, or sort of what are you looking forward to in your future, whether it be jobs or grad school, or you don't know, and that's totally fine too.
So every day of the week, my answer changes to this question. But in a way, I'm almost excited that I don't entirely know. In my dream life, I would like to take some time to get work or more travel experience and then
Mm-hmm.
apply to either grad school or law school. I want to work with immigrants and I want to continue studying Arabic because that's my unofficial minor at UofL. And so what I would really, I mean, with coronavirus, it's changed quite a bit, but I've been looking up several programs abroad where you can continue studying. And hopefully, I'm a huge travel buff. So hopefully, getting more travel experience or real world experience before I go back into school. So I know that's changed, of course, with coronavirus, traveling, and then also
Mm-hmm.
job availabilities. So I'm still trying to figure that out. But I think I'm just going to keep my head up and keep applying for grants to go abroad and see what will happen. But in the meantime, I'm very lucky to have a place to stay and be. I know a lot of
Yes.
students don't necessarily have that. So as much as my family and I are driving each other crazy, it looks like I'll be here for a little bit.
I love that, and I can't wait to see whatever it is that you do because I know it'll be exciting and lots of fun. We just have another minute or so left, so I just had you look forward a little bit. Now I want you to look back. Um, what would you tell maybe freshman year Reagan about making the most of your experience at U of L, or maybe just some general advice that you wish you would have had, or maybe giving yourself, or maybe you did have as an incoming student 4 years ago?
Yeah. Well, when I came to Louisville, I didn't know my major. I didn't really know anything about the city of Louisville. I just didn't know anything. And one thing that I'm really grateful that I did was just dive in head first. Said yes to almost everything that was thrown my way about just, do you want to go to this international fair downtown, or there's this live music something happening in Louisville. And I think that just constantly not giving yourself an excuse to stay in, but pushing yourself to be in the most uncomfortable places have been where I've met my best friends. So now looking back, I've been so nostalgic going through my camera roll, and some of my favorite memories were just random times that maybe a friend and I wanted to go to Kroger, and on the way we saw it, like, for example, in Louisville, one time I saw a corgi fair downtown, and it was just like 800 corgis in one place. So I think that just constantly keeping your mind open and realizing that Louisville can be as big or as small as you make it, just by expanding who you spend your time with and the places you go. And so I've been just really, really lucky to make such a huge network while I've been there. And I know that it's going to continue to grow even after I'm out of the city, or if I stay in the city, who knows where I'll be, but I'll continue to say yes to a lot of things.
I love that. I love saying yes. I know that's one of the little, I guess, hashtags for the incoming, for admissions is hashtag UofL yes. And I think that is a good way to consider all the opportunities that not only U of L, but as you mentioned, the city can offer you, is just to say yes and try them out. And I'm excited to see whatever you do next.
Again, I am too. We'll see.
Yes. And just a reminder, I know we'll stay in contact, but you know, we have alumni all over the world too, so we can get you connected with some of our alumni wherever they might be. So
yeah, I've enjoyed reading these comments. There have been people commenting where they are, and it seems like people are from all over watching.
All over. Colombia, South America.
Yeah,
we've seen lots of our friends on here, some from Raise Red and all that fun stuff. So thanks to everyone who has joined us. We are going to save this on our story so people can come back and watch it and all that fun stuff. Thanks again to Reagan for chatting. I'm excited for her to be graduating. Yeah. And stay tuned to everyone up to our social media in the next couple weeks. We're going to be doing some stuff to celebrate our graduates, since they're not going to be able to celebrate commencement as they normally would. We'll be taking some stuff virtual for that. So thanks again, Reagan, and go Cards.
Go Cards. Thanks so
much.